Hey, hello, folks. This is Transit Joe here, and it's a rainy and stormy day on this Tuesday morning on the 27th September, and we got some of the effects of Hurricane Ian, which is up to our south and west, and it's supposed to track. It came across Cuba and it's supposed to track near the Florida Straits and near the west coast of Florida and make landfall somewhere they're saying around the Tampa Bay area as a formidable hurricane, rainmaker. There's a chance that it may even stall out and be a significant weather event. But a lot of concerns. Have a lot of friends in the area, and I hope they're getting ready for this event. And we're dealing with the outskirts, some of the peripherals from the storm. It rained all night. It's raining now. It's supposed to clear up a little bit this afternoon, and then supposedly the worst will start tonight, which is mostly rain and tropical storm wind or gusts are possible. They say. Well, this video today is going to be about um, someday the transit bus. Yeah, you heard me right. Someday the transit bus. Back in well, when the internet started, it brought a lot of people like me together. See, I was always been a transit buff, a bus buff, anything that moves, trains, airplanes, ships, you name it. And I I thought it was something wrong with me. It was just unique to me. But I knew some people that were like me, and once the internet started, there was a whole bunch of people like me. People that work in the industry, people that don't work in the industry, um, anybody from kids to news anchors, and it brought a lot of us together. We formed an email group, and we got to know each other. It was people from all over, from Canada, Germany, Great Britain, um, mostly, excuse me, from the United States and and Canada, and we stayed together all these years. And some of us, unfortunately, have passed on, but the rest of us we still keep in contact as much as we can. They started with an email group, then some of the IRC, the early chat rooms, AOL. It went on to Yahoo groups. Um, Even now, there's Facebook groups, but we still try to keep in touch with each other. Back in '99, one such friend of mine, we'll name him Transit Fan, he he introduced me to the Motor Bus Society, which is a great group of transit professionals, buffs, enthusiasts, you name it, with a focus on history, which is another pastime of mine. And we met. First convention was in Orlando. First convention that I attended was Orlando, and we toured. Great convention. We toured Orlando, Tampa Bay, and got to meet a whole bunch of great folks for the first time. I attended a bunch of conventions afterwards. Due to health reasons, I haven't attended one in about 4 or 5 years, but I tend to attend future ones. I sure do miss the get-togethers and getting to know people and learn from people. I learned a lot of stuff from people who work at other transit agencies. Okay, someday the transit bus. Back when I first met these people, I did not know there were so many that they were bus owners also. They were keeping the tradition, and a lot of them owned older buses, and and it was a hobby to them. And I decided that I would sell one of my cars, and I would use the money to try to purchase a used transit bus. And after about a year researching, finally came across an auction in Tampa, the Tampa Machinery Auction, and they had five RTS buses for sale, five or six. Most of them were 35 footers that belonged or were delivered new to Chapel Hill Transit in North Carolina, and they were being sold by the Citrus Connection out of Lakeland, Florida. Which, by the way, in my first convention in '99, we did visited Citrus Connection. They were very, very nice folks that gave us good welcome, and I got to see those RTSs there for the first time in person. Well, those buses were up for sale, and a friend of mine's and I, uh, to make a long story short, we drove to Tampa, spent the night, attended the auction the next morning, and I ended up purchasing one of them, 770, which was the Citrus Connection used in different colors, and that was a yellow one. They also had two 40 footers that belonged to Dart, Dallas, Texas, originally by way of the Citrus Connection. And I purchased the bus for a little under $1,000, um, knowing nothing about it. They did start it up and it ran, so I knew that much. So I paid for it. I started it up. The air pressure, all the fluids looked good. The air pressure built up. Put a temporary tag on it. Drove it out of there. Stopped at the gas station across the street. Spent a fortune filling it up, and we started right there. Hit I-75, Miami bound. The bus was running real good. The AC was only working so, but it was a nice day, so I just opened up all the sliding windows. Bus was doing a good 73, 75 miles an hour all the way down. And we stopped briefly in Fort Myers. Then we got across the Alligator Alley, and the right front tire started to whine and complain, making a lot of noises. So I had to slow it down to about 50, 55 until we got into Broward County, and dished it, went right to city streets. And I was able to drive it to my parents' house. And a couple of days later, I took it to a tire shop to get the tire looked at. The guy looked at it and he said, you came from where on this thing? The tire was virtually just falling apart. So, um, put a new tire on it. It's about almost 400 and change. Drove it back to my parents' house. Parked on the side. It looked real good on the side until a neighbor complained. And I brought it to my house. But I had it parked in the backyard for a while. It started deteriorating there in the years to come. And to make a long story short, um, I sold it in about 2012 to help pay for a friend's medical bills. I sold it to a guy who converted it to an RV, and he still owns the bus. I haven't seen it recently, but supposedly still owns it, and he's got somebody living out of it. I don't know, but the bus still exists today. It hasn't gone to the shredder or anything like that. Had an excellent engine, 6V92 with a B730 transmission. Beautiful running bus. Only trouble it gave me was the transmission line went out, and a good friend of mine, a bus partner of mine, was able to replace it with a stronger line. And we also had some ground issues by trying to start the bus. So we had to repair the ground strap. And then our collection of buses grew, and the bus was moved to a storage lot, and eventually, you know, my health started deteriorating, a bunch of issues, and I couldn't dedicate the time to it that it deserved, and it got sold along with the rest of our buses. Eventually, were sold. But this is a story only of a 77, and it got the name Sunday from my youngest daughter, who was adolescent at the time. She loved the idea of getting a bus, and she says, "Daddy, when is the bus coming home?" And I said, "Someday, baby, someday." And that's how it came to be named Someday. I enjoyed the bus tremendously. I took family out, birthday parties, um, gave the neighborhood kids a ride numerous times. Sometimes I just bring it out for them to play in, park in the cul-de-sac, and they'll all be climbing in and out of it. Um, went for good rides, went for our annual transit picnic, took them there once. Um, had memorable rides on it. Very good running bus, like I said. And, I enjoyed it. I don't regret it. But that's the story of someday the transit bus. Future videos will cover the other buses we bought. One time we had 7. Um, but one of the drawbacks of owning a bus, and I told people, no, don't do it. Uh, it's fun, but it's a money pit. It's hard to find insurance for it. Company that was offering insurance through travelers. They don't insure that anymore. It's hard to find a parking space for it, a parking lot, a storage lot, and then they're expensive. And sometimes you have to park along trucks, a lot of trucks, and most truckers are good, honest, hardworking people, but there's always a few that either they'll steal parts from it, yes, got a cat, or they'll steal your fuel. It has happened to friends of mine. It hasn't happened to me. I had I found the bus one time with the engine compartment door open, but it didn't appear like nothing was taken, and I was afraid they were going to steal the batteries. So it's best to stay with the model buses if you like buses that much, and maybe find a museum or something that holds buses if you want to go for a ride. You got museums all over the nation that preserve older buses. If you live near one, you can dedicate your time or dedicate some funds to help them out. And but I don't regret it, but I advise people against it. I know conservation efforts and preserving bus history and all that. I agree. I'm all for it. I try to do my conservations through uh, preserving transit documents, maps, and like photographs. Try to educate people. Try to tell them about our history, our transit history, and that's how I do it. Again, I don't regret it, but it's something that I'll probably never do again. And this is it for this video. I'm shooting it from the camera from my computer. You see it's not that great. So hopefully I'll invest in some good camera equipment soon.